what's going on, ladies and gentlemen? AJ Gore here, and we are live once again for another KastKingLIVE. I'm trying to get Instagram going here, and it's proving to be a challenge right now. Of course, this is new for us here, and tonight wants to be troublesome all of a sudden. So let me see if I can get this clicked back in. It was set up to go, but at the last second, it doesn't want to. So I'm going to give this one try again and see what she does. If not, no Instagram. Let's see here. Copy this. Okay, we're going to jump over here. Nope, says I'm live on Instagram, so we're just going to roll with it. All right. All righty. Well, all right. Well, we're just going to go right on forward as if we are live on Instagram. I'm not sure if we are or not, but it is what it is. So we got a fun show going on tonight. We got a special guest, Mr. Brent Chapman. I'm going to bring him on in just a minute, but here, before I do, I want to give a shout out to who I do see that we have in here live on Facebook and YouTube. We've got Gary. What's going on? I know Gary said that it was a state of emergency has been declared in New Jersey. 70-mile-an-hour gusts tonight, heavy rain and flooding. So shout out to you guys. Hope everybody's okay on that side of the world. I know that on that side of the country, we've had all kinds of unstable weather. Brent Chapman, actually, we weren't sure if we were going to be able to go live tonight with Brent or myself. I've had some unstable weather in my area. And then, of course, in Brent's area, they've been getting tons of snow. I don't know if you guys have been following him online. He's been out there shoveling snow so his dog can use the potty and not have to be shoulders deep in the snow. It's been coming down pretty good. So we're going to hope everything streams good. We've got Brent standing by ready to go. But in the background, we got Robert Green. What's going on, Robert? Glad to see you. Gary, how are you? Who else we got in the house tonight jumping in? And I know a lot of people are starting to filter in as we go. Sean, how you doing? Ben, what's going on? Dan, glad to see you. Jennifer Lude, how you doing? Bob, hello. Who else we got in here? Paul, what's going on? Nice, nice. Jennifer Ludman saying Happy New Year to everybody. Happy New Year to you too. Guys, in the comment section, let me know where you guys are going live from. Hopefully the weather's good in your area. And you know what? We're going to go ahead and get the show started off good and kicking. We're going to bring Brent in right now. Brent, here we go. We're going to be bringing you guys in. So here he goes. Mr. Brent Chapman, what's going on, man? How you doing? Brent, can you hear me?
I can't
Brent,
hear him.
All right.
You're live, Brent. Brent, can you hear me?
I can't hear you.
Tell him you can't hear him, but you're listening online.
Brent, you're live, Brent.
I can't hear you.
Uh-oh. Naturally, of course, right as we were, what's funny is we were fine the whole time. Hold on. Let's see here.
Can you hear me?
Brent, I'm going to go ahead and have you come back, okay? Hold on. We're going to actually, I'm not going to do that. Let's do this. Remove and bring back. Brent, can you hear me now? Hold on.
You're in the show. Brent. Everyone can see and hear you. Everyone can see and hear you.
So let's do this.
Okay.
Leave the chat and come back with the link. All right, there we go. So here we go. So I'm going to have Brent, we're going to give him a minute to go ahead and come out and come back in. Everything was working great. Literally, we were talking seconds before we went live, and then all of a sudden, boom, drop. Brent lost audio. So we're going to see if maybe it's the link issue right there is having something going on from having coming in and out. We're going to have him jump back in, guys. So till then, we've got, like I said, he's got some weather issues coming in. Let's see what's going on. And everything was fine. Perfect before we went live. We were talking in the background. But let's see here. We've got tornadoes, lots of rain here in Florida. Oh, that's crazy. Okay, now let's go ahead and see if we got Brent. I'm bringing you onto the stage. Brent, can you hear me now?
I can hear you.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, sometimes it's weird. So you get a weird patch every now and then. So, all righty, ladies and gentlemen, we got Mr. Brent Chapman in the house, Major League Fishing Pro. Brent, we didn't have you on the show last year, like this show, but I did have you on several times at like Redcrest, ICAST. Yep. It's always great to see you. Love seeing you in person, but I know the fans love seeing you throughout the year. So I'm glad to have you back on for 2004 and hopefully a couple more times.
Well, I'm going to throw it out there. You can have me on more than once a year too. So I'm always willing.
Perfect. Yeah, we definitely got to catch up, make sure our schedules get down there. But I hope this year we have you on more frequently with a whole lot of trophies and some big checks in your pocket. What are you looking forward to? We got the first event for Major League Fishing Bass Pro Tour kicking off at the end of January. I think it's Toledo Bend.
Yep.
Are you excited? Are you nervous? You got any jitters? Are you like still sleepy from the cold winter?
A little bit of everything. I mean, you said it right there. I mean, it's been a long break, but at the same time, I haven't bass fished a lot since our team series stuff back in October and November, and people need to be sure to watch that. I know it's starting to air on TV, so there should be some exciting things to see there. But I'm kind of used to that. I like to kind of put the rods away for November, December, and it really creates the itch again for me to want to get out and bass fish, and that's where we're at. After what we experienced today, it's hard to believe that with all the snow we've gotten. As cold as what it's supposed to be there. But Toledo Bend will be right around the corner, so I'm spending a lot of time in the shop just working on the boat. Believe it or not, today I rigged up about 20-some KastKing rods and reels, getting everything I need ready for Toledo Bend.
Nice. Now, I was going to ask this later on, but with that said, we're going to go ahead and talk about right here. You said, you'd take an off season. You said it was like October, November.
Mm-hmm.
What are you doing? Like, what do you do in the off season, or what is your favorite pastime? I guess. I mean, I know you like to saltwater fish when you can, but what's your favorite pastime in the off season when you're not fishing? I guess. Or
if people don't know me as a fan, my passion is deer hunting. I mean, it's land management. It's basically doing everything to grow big whitetails and create good habitat for whitetails. And if I'm lucky, I get to fling an arrow at one every once in a while. So that's what I do. That's what I've been doing. And the buck season ended up December 31st. So with that chapter closed, it's time to shift gears and really start focusing on the thing that I can do a lot better, and that's hopefully catch fish. And really looking forward to our 2024 season.
Now, did you harvest this year? Did you harvest any?
I didn't shoot a big buck this year, and it's not because I didn't have opportunities to. It's just I'm very, very picky, and there was a particular deer, a couple of deer that I was after, and believe it or not, I didn't even see them. And that's what's so neat, challenging, and frustrating about hunting big whitetails is you're hunting a ghost, and literally, if it wasn't for cameras, I wouldn't believe these deer exist, but I have cameras, and it's like a cat and mouse game. I mean, I would be there hunting them, and 2 hours later they would show up or something. So, but that's what makes it exciting. And for me, it's not necessarily the harvesting of the deer. If I get that opportunity, it's great. It's just the time out there and experiencing wildlife and the nature and seeing what happens. As far as putting some meat in the freezer, we do have a doe season going on here, and that's part of deer management, and we've definitely been doing that, putting some does in the freezer and keeping the population in check. And we might do a little bit more of that, but it's definitely shift gears time and get everything ready to start fishing. Nice.
Well, that's good. I mean, that's good to hear. I know that like I like to do some hunting here and there. I haven't had a chance to do much of any this year, but it's great to have that switch, that change. Now going into this season, now we're shifting to, like you said, fishing. I got a comment up here. I got a couple comments because I threw it out there asking everybody to feel free to ask questions, not just mine. Oh, Sandy Roberts told me to give you and Bobby her best. So
all right,
from Sandy Roberts. But anyhow, Gary wants to know, what is your preferred technique? And that actually goes right along with what I've got a question in here is what is your favorite? Now we all know you like to throw a bladed jig. Like there's no secret that you love to throw a bladed jig. Is it your preferred technique, or is it something that you just go to because you can produce? So if you had to say, if I had a favorite to just throw, what would be your favorite to throw? And then I guess what would be your preferred that produces?
I think for everybody, it's hard to not say that fishing topwater is their favorite. And that brings into mind of last year at Lake St. Clair. I think it was the first day of competition for me. Got out there and there was a mayfly hatch and it was slick calm. And it was one of those days where it was one of those days that really reminds you when you get on a topwater bite, what you like about it so much. I was fishing just a little pop-ar, but it was one of those things. We got out there and we have a 30-minute ride around, and then you start fishing. So I was only fishing about 10 minutes from takeoff, and I'm running across the water there, and it's slick calm, and I could see mayflies all over the surface. And when I shut down on my first spot, you could just see the smallmouth coming up there, nipping the mayflies off the surface. So, I mean, you talk about drive you crazy when you got to sit there for 15 minutes and can't make a cast. But it was one of those things that really made me realize how much fun it is to fish topwaters when you get them figured out. Unfortunately, it only lasted one day of that whole event because when the wind blew, the topwater bite didn't last there. But that does bring to mind, I forgot about the other great topwater event I had. I finished third at Lake Murray, and I caught a lot of those fish on a plopper type bait. And I mean, when they're eating topwater, you can't go wrong. And hopefully a lot of the fans have tuned in and even saw my Hail Mary catch there with seconds to go at the end of the period. And I kind of called my shot and caught a 4-pounder with seconds to go. And that was on a plopper. So you got to say topwater is definitely my favorite way to catch fish. But, definitely my strengths are bladed jigs, but really any moving baits. I mean, anything where I can cover water and beat the bank, I guess, would be the best way of saying it. If I had a favorite way of fishing, I love my Garmin Live Scope, but if I can just go down the bank and beat the bank and fish what's in front of me, whether it's throwing a square bill or a bladed jig or flipping visible cover, something like that, that's my strength. That's what I absolutely love.
Okay. Now, I actually I thought of something when you said that you pulled up and you had to sit there and wait, and you were watching the smallmouth nip the top. Let's say you didn't have any kind of a topwater bait tied on, and you're still in that window of you can't fish yet. Yeah. Can you make adjustments to your tackle beforehand?
Oh, yeah. You can rig up, you can retie. That's what we all do. What's so funny is you'll be sitting there for 15, 20 minutes, and you'll have all your stuff rigged up from the night before and all that. And inevitably, you always sit down and you end up tying something different on or making changes. And I think, if I remember right, in that situation, I only had like one topwater bait done up because I hadn't the topwater bite had not happened in practice. But it was one of those things where you have to fish the conditions. And when we got out that first morning, it was slick calm, and we hadn't had those conditions in practice. But when it was slick calm, and you see the mayflies on the surface, that right there tells you better get out of topwater because it's going to be good for a little while. And if I remember right, I think I caught, I want to say I had like 18 or 19 pounds pretty darn quick. Wow. Topwater. So it was a lot of fun.
That's pretty good. Yeah. Now, we got a question up here on the screen. Do you use the Ned rig?
Do I use the Ned rig? Well, that's a funny story because a lot of people don't even know what the Ned rig actually where it came from, but it originated right down the road from me, right up in Lawrence, Kansas, from a gentleman, and his name is Ned Cady, and he is an outdoor writer, and he lives right up here in Lawrence, Kansas. And I knew about the Ned rig about probably 2 years before it actually hit the world. And I was begging Ned to kind of keep it quiet, but he didn't let it. He liked to teach people and tell people his secrets, and that's where the Ned rig started. And it's not one of my favorite ways to fish, but I will fish it. And a lot of people think the Ned rig's nothing but a little fish bait, but I can speak firsthand that I watched my son. My son probably has the unofficial world record of the biggest bass ever caught on a Ned rig. He caught a 12-8 on a Ned rig. So I know the Ned rig catches some big bass.
Wow. Well, how's your son doing? I mean, he's actually involved in professional fishing to a degree. Where is he at right now, say, in the up-and-coming world?
Well, it's funny where he's at right now. My son is down with my parents in Florida, and if you follow Mason at Mason Chapman Fishing, he caught him a nice big redfish last night off the dock at my parents, and they've actually been trying to go offshore fishing, but the weather's been so bad down there. They've been there for almost a week, and he has not had a chance to go offshore yet because the wind's been so bad. But they're hoping for better conditions either tomorrow or Thursday before they head back. But he's going to the local community college. He's had some great successes being a co-angler on the Toyota series. And believe it or not, this year, he's kind of shifting gears a little bit. He's going to find out next month. He is so fascinated with the JDM side of bass fishing and the Japanese side of bass fishing that he's applying for a semester abroad. And he may be in Japan come August, spending a year in Japan, going to college there, and he's actually taking Japanese, and it's been, he's good, but he loves to follow the social media and stuff. So he's actually learning how to read and speak Japanese. So if there's any Japanese folks out there that want a very knowledgeable fisherman, some help over in the Japanese world, Mason's going to be hopefully heading there, and super excited about that for him.
Yeah, hey, foreign exchange college students, it's a thing.
Yeah.
So, all right. So like we said, we got the Bass Pro Tour kicking off. Is there anything that you're most looking forward to? Like, is there a special event? Is there did you make it to a certain event that's not part of the Bass Pro Tour? What of the 2024
so
season?
there's two things I'm super excited about, and one of them Bobby just reminded me. My wife's in the background, and I'm really excited because for the first 10, 15 years, my kids traveled with us. Bobby homeschooled the kids, and they travel with me. And then when they got to that late high school, early college stage, they didn't travel with me anymore. So unfortunately, Bobby didn't travel with me either for the last couple of years. So I'd kind of been a bachelor, and I didn't really love that. And she kind of reminded me in the background, she's going to be traveling with me again full time. So I'm super excited about that. And then the other thing, I don't even know if I'm supposed to announce this yet. Bobby may throw something at me here, but really excited to say that we're bringing back our show Pro versus Joe's.
Oh, really?
And, people may have tuned in over the years and watched it. It's going to be a little bit different this year because we're going to, make them for more of the social media world, for YouTube and stuff like that. But we're in the process of putting together some shows and going to start filming around our events. So if there's anybody out there listening and you're close to any of our events that we're coming to, we're probably going to be looking for some Joes to challenge us and get out there and get out and have a good day of fishing with them as well.
Nice. Well, if you ever come out to my neck of the woods, I guarantee I can put together a lot of contenders.
Hey, if you can convince Major League Fishing to go out west, I'm all in.
Yeah,
what? I'd love to go out west some more.
The West Coast is slacking, man. I'm telling you. I swear they're slacking when it comes. We had a couple events years ago, and it just, like back FLW days and things like that.
Well, unfortunately, we won't get into politics, but
right.
There's that I've always said my most favorite place in the country to fish is Clear Lake. But everything I've always heard that the money's not out west, but I would gladly go out west every year if we could, just because it's just as easy for me to drive to California and Arizona as it is to New York and Florida and those places. So yeah, I'm all in. Let's go out west.
Hit the I-40 and come on over.
Exactly.
Anyhow. All right. So we asked what you're most excited for. Is there anything you're most nervous or reserved about?
Yeah, no, without a doubt. I mean, if the fans have been following, and this is something I'm going to preface it with, I truly believe it's something that needs to be done, and I think it will be for the best for our sport. Is our sport, or Major League Fishing, the BPT Tour, is they're cutting the field down. Next year they're cutting from 80 to 65, and then the year after that from 65 to 50. So there's a lot of pressure. There's a lot of pressure on all of us to make sure I'm in the top 65 after 2024, and in 2025 that I'm in the top 50. So that has me a little nervous and some pressure, but believe it or not, that's what we do as professional fishermen. We are supposed to perform under pressure, and I've done it all, for almost 30 years now. And, I'm looking forward to it too. I'm just hoping and praying that come 2025 that we're in that top 50. And I think when you get to that point, when our sport gets to that point, I think for those guys that are in that top 50, it's really going to be a great thing for those guys moving forward. And I just hope I'm one of them.
Yeah, well, I can tell you right now, I guarantee there's a whole lot of us that are definitely rooting for you.
Well, I appreciate it.
All right. Okay, I got a question for you.
Yeah.
We'll look at the comment section. What's a technique you hate to throw but sometimes have to?
I know, a shaky head.
Really?
And I guess that I really don't like it now, just because I'll do it, and I don't mind throwing a spinning rod, but the shaky head just seems like such a wimpy way to fish, and there should be more efficient ways to fish. And And I think the thing that really got me was, I don't think it was last year, it was 2 years ago that we were at Lake of the Ozarks, one of my home bodies of water. And Jesse Wiggins won the tournament on a shaky head, but it was in April. And, it's funny, I was staying with Wesley Strader and Mark Rose and those guys. And like, he's catching them on a shaky head, and the shaky head bites really on. I'm like, I've grown up fishing Lake of the Ozarks my whole career. There is no way in heck in April that I'm going to throw a shaky head at Lake of the Ozarks. And it was my own fault for being stubborn. And I shouldn't have been, but it's just that I think that event especially made me really dislike a shaky head, just because I think there's better, more enjoyable ways to catch them.
Oh yeah.
There it is.
I got a bunch that my guys got poured for me this year, but
now
I need to throw more.
Now I say a shaky head. What I mean is when you're throwing a shaky head, an 1/8 or a 16th ounce head on a spinning rod and all that. Now, if I can throw a bigger shaky head, with a bigger, 10-inch worm and a 3/8 or half ounce weight on 16 or 20 pound line, I'll do that. I just consider that worming at that point.
Yeah, that's basically what that is. So I got you. I understand. Yeah, scale down and really minute size. So I get that. All right. Well, Steve Yeckel from the comment section wants to know, what's your best or your favorite, I guess, KastKing rod and reel combo? What's your
well, without a doubt, that's simple for me. It's the Speed Demon Pro rod, the swim bait. It's the 7.6 swim bait rod, and that rod is by far in that series we make a bladed jig rod. It's a 7.3, and that's a great bladed jig rod. But I found that 7.6 is a rod that I can throw the bait a little bit farther on. It's more for open water. It gives me a little more backbone. But not only is that rod great for a bladed jig, it's great for swim baits. It's great for the ploppers for your. It's just a super versatile rod. And pair that with a Bassinator Elite reel is just a great combination. And when I have that set up in my hand, I'm completely comfortable. I feel right at home. And back to what I was saying about my strengths and my preferences are moving baits. So whenever I have that rod and reel in my hand, it's typically with some form of a moving bait, preferably a bladed jig, if not a swim bait. What I've thrown the top waters on it, a speed worm, or fishing a moving worm. It's just a very, very versatile rod and reel setup. And I rigged up about 5 or 6 of them today for Toledo Bend.
Now, Sean asked, swim bait Speed Demon Pro versus Sweet Caroline. I can tell you right now, I don't even have to ask Brent. He's going to go for that swim bait rod, right? Like he just said. It's funny is I heard you on an interview live on MLF one day where you talked. They broke it down, and you'd been banging that bladed jig up around some trees and stuff, and you stopped and you turned around and you're like, oh man, I tell you what, I'm throwing a bladed jig, but I'm not throwing it on our bladed jig rod. I'm throwing it on a swim bait rod. And you broke that down. But one thing that you didn't break down, some people might ask, and especially being the fact that the Bassinator's on sale right now, do you prefer with that setup an 8-speed, like an 8 1-to-1 in the Bassinator, or do you like the 6 6-to-1 for that?
Well, that's a great, and I forgot to touch on that. Funny, when I first started fishing on a bladed jig, and it was 3 or 4 years ago, we were at Lake Fork, and that's where I really had some good success, and I made the top. I think I finished 3rd or 4th at Lake Fork, and I was catching them on a chatterbait. And at the time, I was using the bladed jig rod, but I was using the 6 4-to-1 reel, and it was great. I could really feel the bait, could really feel what it was doing. But I found out something. I can't even remember. It was probably the late Aaron Martins, my buddy Aaron Martins, talking about how a fish will come up and eat a bladed jig, and they'll swim towards you a lot of times, and you can't catch up with them, and they'll spit the bait back out at you. I didn't believe that until I had it happen twice in that event. Probably I just caught like a 7-pounder, 5 or 6 casts later. I'm working that bait. One just chokes it, and I couldn't catch up with the fish that swam towards me. Finally catches up, and he just spit the bait out. And I switched to the 8-to-1 reel, and knock on wood, I have never had any issues since, because that faster gear ratio, I can catch up with the fish, and you don't lose as many fish with it as easily. So with a slower gear ratio, you can definitely feel more of what that bait is doing, and I would encourage people, if you're just learning a bladed jig or a spinner bait, to fish it on a slower reel, because you can tell what the blade's doing. You can feel it more. when you speed up the reel, you lose some of that feel, but you do make up being able to catch up with the fish. The other side of that too is if I make a long cast and I fish a sweet spot, then I get to some, if I want to just hit sweet spots, I can reel that much faster to make another cast and get it into those key stretches as well. So the higher gear ratios are definitely better when it comes to that.
So would you say that with that said, you as a pro, like you said, you definitely touched on points on somebody that's just kind of getting into it. The slower gear ratio may be more beneficial to you, but you yourself, would you say that you prefer a faster ratio over a slower ratio nowadays, no matter what? Or do you still mix it up?
Not on everything, like a big spinner bait, or, I've gotten into fishing glide baits and swim baits more this year. Had some success there on those, and those still require the 6-to-1 gear ratio, or what am I thinking of? Carolina rigging or something that I got to do slow. Deep crankbaits. Deep crankbaits are probably the biggest thing that require a slower gear ratio reel. Now, the other side of that too is I love the Bassinator Elite reels, but my favorite flipping and pitching reel by far now is the Speed Demon Elites. Okay. At that higher gear ratio is it's a game changer when it comes to flipping and pitching, and how much faster I can get on a bite. If I pitch into a spot and a fish bites it, I can reel down and set the hook that much faster. If a fish bites it and comes screaming towards me, with that higher gear ratio reel, I can just catch up to that fish, set the hook on it, and put that fish in the boat. Or if I'm pitching in between pitches, I'm just able to be that much more efficient. I guarantee you, if I'm pitching with that reel over a Bassinator Elite, I'm going to make several more pitches throughout the day just because of that higher gear ratio reel.
Covering more water, more frequently.
Exactly.
I tell you what, you've become the poster child with that buzzer beater a couple of years ago with a higher gear ratio, right at the end that got you in through the round, the knockout round. So that was awesome. Now we got Rashawn on here. He goes, what is the biggest fish you've caught on a bladed jig and the biggest fish you've ever caught on a hollow body frog?
That's a good question. I can tell you for sure, I caught my biggest bass ever, my personal best. I think it was 2 years ago. Actually went down to do some content and get some content between events, and went down with a buddy down to northern Florida, and was throwing a bladed jig, and I caught my personal best. I caught an 11-8 on a Strike King Thunder cricket with the exact setup we were just talking about. As far as the hollow bodied frog, I'm trying to think of what my biggest bass ever is on a hollow bodied frog. I'm going to guess probably in the 7 or 8 pound range. So I don't recall any 9s or I've only caught a couple 10s. So and none of them were on a frog. So yeah, I think probably an 8 pounder is probably my biggest frog fish.
Okay. So now we're getting a lot of people in the comment section asking, are we going to see a Brent Chapman combo? Are we going to see a Brent Chapman combo? There is a Brent Chapman combo that did come out. I have 2 of them. Yeah. I found them in my local Walmart here as they were a test product that we had going. Yep. But as far as any products, just to let everybody else know, any products that could be in development or may not be in development, we can't tell you.
Yeah, exactly. So they'll have to wait till at least ICAST to get that. But there is the combo at Walmart. There's
select Walmarts, yeah,
quite a few around the country, and it's just a nice little starter setup. A starter setup. Obviously, when you get to our level and you get into the Speed Demon Pros and the technique specific rods, there's 21, 22 rods in the lineup now, and every one of those is technique specific. But if you get somebody that's new to the sport, you're like, well, what where do I start? I always tell people something around that 7 to 7.2 foot range, and
medium.
Yeah, exactly, and that's what that combo rod is. So I actually stuck one in my boat today, and whenever I get to somewhere where we're not going to be frozen in, I'm going to hopefully start playing with it some myself and share with the fans of what that setup can do.
Nice. Well, I'll tell you guys, I can say this. I know Brent's definitely not going anywhere for a while, and we love Brent, so just keep your eyes open.
Yes, that's exactly.
So you never know. So, and Brent doesn't sit on his hands, I tell you that. Bobby won't let him. But no. So nice. Let's go ahead, and we're pretty much coming up to that 30-minute mark, but let's go ahead and see if there's any other comments we want to get out here. I wish my Walmart carried KastKing products. Time will tell. It's happening. It's happening.
Hey, on that note, if you wish your Walmart, be sure to get with the managers and let them know. Yeah, I've always heard that's a big way to encourage is when people start asking, that's when they'll start to carry it more.
Yeah, and definitely in like Walmart.com, do the content, contact, send a message, let them know that, hey, we're demanding this stuff. And the great thing is, KastKing is available through major suppliers. So all your mom and pop shops, Sportsman's Warehouse and places like that are now going to be carrying them. So we're going to be seeing a lot more products a lot more often. So Crappie Kev must have missed out. He was asking, are we going to see more pros versus Joes again? Yes,
we are. Yep, we're going to see those. Bobby, when will they start to air, you think? March. We're hoping for them to start airing in March. So if you follow my social channels, we'll definitely keep you up to date on them. But our goal is to have those ready for social media come March. So be sure to keep following along.
So before I turn you away, guys, Pros versus Joes coming off in March. Bass Pro Tour kicking off the end of this month, January 30th, Toledo Bend. But before you go, I got to ask, do you have any friendly or maybe even unfriendly, hopefully we don't have unfriendly rivalries, but friendly rivalries that you're looking forward to throwing some salt on, maybe squeeze some lime on through 2024 against anybody in the MLF circuit?
No, not really. I mean, obviously, every one of the guys I want to beat. Some of them are my great, good friends and really, great friends. I'll tell you on that note, I mean, no rivalries, but I'm really looking forward to, we did it a few times last year. We stayed together last year with Wesley Strader. And this year, I believe he's going to be staying with us almost all of the year. And him and his wife, Stephanie, they're just great people and had a good time every time he stayed with us. So just kind of looking forward to sharing houses with Wesley Strader and his wife and Bobby and I. And it's funny if you don't know Wesley very well, if you hang around him very long, you'll be laughing for sure. So he definitely makes you laugh a lot.
Is he a prankster? Are you a victim of any prank?
He's not so much a prankster, and I think he might kid a little bit, but most of the guys when it comes to fishing, when it's at that level, the prankster side of things is don't mess with my profession, So he's definitely he's very, very positive, and the thing that I can say, I kind of got off track there a little bit, is doing this over the years is you really have to be able to trust people, and that's a hard thing to do in this sport, and be able to have full trust with people. And I'd say I've got that with Wesley over the last couple of years. I've got several other friends of mine. Alton Jones is a really good friend of mine, and I've always been able to trust him 100% as well. So having those guys that you can trust is really important as well.
Yeah, no, I get it. I mean, in the background, I've got Cliff's jersey, your jersey, Skeets, James Elam's jersey up here. And you guys are all pretty much Team KastKing, and you're on the same team, so to speak, and you may share other teams, but at the end of the day, they're there to take food out of your mouth. You know what I mean? So it's like, you can only be friends so much, when it comes to.
You're exactly right. It's a competition. I mean, at the end of the day, we'll all be friends, and at the end of events for sure. But when it's time on the water, I mean, they're trying to take money away from me, and I'm trying to take money away from them. And believe it or not, that's what we all signed up for. But at the end of 2025, I hope I'm still standing, and that's what we're shooting for.
Yeah, I was going to say, and with 2024 and 2025, the next 2 years shaping up to cut some of these guys out.
And I think that's going to be a really neat thing, because you're going to see that extra pressure. You're going to see probably some of the best competition you've ever seen in this sport as well.
Yeah, it's going to make for some good TV. We might see some meltdowns. Hopefully we don't see any broken rods and temper tantrums.
You might see that from some of the people. You won't see it from me, though.
Good deal. If you break a rod, not hopefully it's on a giant fish, but it's an accident or something. But awesome. Well, Brent, I know that you and Bobby got some quality time to get to and some more shoveling ahead of you. So I'm going to go ahead and turn you loose. Thank you very much for joining in. Before I turn you loose, though, is there anything you want to say to the fans, any shout outs or any news that I didn't give you a chance to talk about? Open mic.
No, AJ, you actually been very, very open, but we appreciate all the fans out there and appreciate them following along. And the one thing I can say about our sport is, especially over the last year, is how much it's changing. And I will say this, that if you don't follow Brent Chapman Fishing, be sure to follow Brent Chapman Fishing, because we're really planning to step up our social media, everything we do, to technique videos, to anything that we can teach people about fishing. That's our goals. And Pro versus Joe coming out, we're really looking forward to that as well. So we're just hoping to let the fans know more and learn more from Brent Chapman, and hopefully continue to be out here for many, many more years. And having AJ having me on more often as well.
All right. Well, you know what? We're going to make it happen this year. I promise.
Hey, I will promise right now, I'm in for once a quarter right now. How about that? So there you go, fans. I just told AJ once a quarter, so it's up to him to having me on.
God, that pressure on them shoulders, man. I got to watch out. We're going to have it. We're going to make it happen. I promise you. So keep me posted. I'll keep you posted. We'll get together. We'll make it happen.
All right.
Yes.
Perfect.
So, all righty, Brent. Thank you very much,
Have
Bobby.
A good one. Thanks, fans. Take care.
Thank you, guys. Have a great night. Such a class act right there, those two. Brent Chapman is amazing. And then, of course, his wife, Bobby, in the background. She's always there helping put things together, helping things, actually connections be made and stuff. That's an awesome team. Definitely a great duo. I love getting to work with those guys throughout the years. It's been a pleasure. Well, guys, I know that from seeing in the comment section, there's some unstable weather happening all across the country. Some people having to jump off because they're having power outages and issues going on where they've got to go dig out flashlights. So I think Gary had to take off, and some other people doing some issues. So prayers to everybody else out there. If you are in an area that's getting some crazy weather, I know Florida's been having some issues. Of course, back east, there's a lot of unstable weather, tornadoes and different things. So prayers to you guys. Hopefully everything's okay for you. And guys, buckle down. Hopefully we see you next Tuesday. And you know what? I think I'm going to pick a random winner tonight out of the comment section. So you have those of you that are live, as long as you're commenting, you are entered to win. And I'm going to give something away next week in honor of Brent Chapman being on tonight. And if you guys are watching this in the rebroadcast, you have till next Tuesday night to jump in here, like and comment. And we will possibly choose your name at random to be a winner, guys, via YouTube and Facebook, guys. So thank you guys very much. Again, my name is AJ Gore. Thanks for watching. Of course, you can follow us on TikTok at KastKingUSA. We have an Instagram page, and I'm not sure if it's working correctly. It said we went live, but I don't think it did correctly. And it's a new feature where we're streaming live YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram for the first time, all 3 times. But it's kind of a little patchy, hard to do sometimes. So we'll get that worked out. If it didn't work right this week, we'll get it figured out. But I hope to see you guys next week. KastKingUSA on Instagram and in KastKing community. And then if you're watching right here via Facebook and YouTube, you already know, just type in KastKing, click that like, subscribe, that notification bell. So when we do go live, hopefully we're calling your name whenever we're live for a giveaway. All righty, guys, be safe, and I will see you guys next Tuesday night. Thank you, Brent and Bobby. And hey, we got a whole roster of guests this year coming on. We're going to get Bill Dance on this year. We're going to get James Elam. We're going to get old Skeet Reese on here, Mr. Cliff Crochet, and a whole bunch of other people from around the country. It's going to be a great year. We're looking forward to talking and hanging with you guys. Until then, I'm out, AJ Gore, and we'll see you guys next Tuesday night. Have a great night.